is an urgent need to lift the ban on diesel. Also, it's not appropriate for courts to levy a cess. These are the two pillars on which the government built its argument in the Supreme Court. Ronojoy, Banerjee and Ashmit Kumar have the details of the day's arguments, which led to the Apex Court reserving its judgment on the contentious issue of banning diesel vehicles in the National Capital Region. Take a look.
Arun Jaitley's stance against judicial interference in legislative matters appear to have rubbed off on the Attorney General of India. The AG took to the floor of the Supreme Court to argue against the court's proposition of a cess to be levied on diesel vehicles. The AG's arguments went like this. The Supreme Court's proposition of a diesel cess is inappropriate since the levy of any cess is a legislative function. It is not for the courts to decide on the quantum of levies, but the government's prerogative. Diesel cars are already taxed heavily, and any additional cess would only increase the burden on auto companies. And that judicial activism would create uncertainty in the investment climate and hurt thousands of crores of investments. The government's arguments found support in the auto companies, which were quick to catch a piggyback ride. Pushing for the ban of diesel vehicles to be vacated, car makers argued that the new cars are BS4 compliant and that older cars cause greater harm, and that there has been no computable benefit since the diesel ban was imposed in December 2015. Mercedes and Toyota, which have been hit the hardest by the ban, went one step further. They offered to collect a cess of 1% and deposit the proceeds in an escrow account. The hope is that this move will help establish their bona fides. The government's arguments have given car makers hope that the court will reconsider the cess, if not the ban itself.
We had a no ban, no cess stand, and we stand by that. We still do not believe that a cess is required, and there should be no ban because all our vehicles meet the government specified mandatory norms. But there is progress in that, from that point of view. A ban that has been enforced since December last year and has been badly impacting some companies has today been lifted. From the other side, the government side, a very strong support we received from them.
But it might be too early to celebrate.
The first step has to be to equalize the amount of tax a petrol car owner and a diesel car owner pays for consumption of the fuel. The immediate estimate that was presented to the court, it showed that if you do that, then in the minimum that it will work out to be will be 20% of the cost of the car.
The judgment might have been reserved, but the court did not leave things without its own parting shot. It observed that the government cannot seek to stop the courts from cleaning up pollution and warned the government that it should not appear to be protecting polluters. In New Delhi, with Ronojoy, Banerjee, Ashmit Kumar.